Hello everyone, welcome to Nano SkillUp. So this is a day one of our AI testing interview series. By the end of this 10-day series, you will be ready for your AI testing interviews, right? So let's get started. So here we are going to discuss about the 5 different interview questions, and also we'll see a simple live coding example and the assignments. So the first question is, what is AI testing? AI testing is the process of validating AI powered applications to ensure they produce accurate, reliable, safe, and consistent outputs under different conditions. Right? So, what does mean AI powered applications here is it might be any AI based chatbot, RAG based applications, are the agents, AI agents that has been built. And one of the most common thing that we have to understand here, there is a difference from doing the traditional testing of applications and AI testing. So as part of that, here I had list out 5 differences and we'll discuss one after the other and we'll understand what does exactly mean. So first one is fixed output we'll be getting from the traditional softwares, and when we talk about the AI powered application, the output will be dynamic. What does it mean? We'll take the example of the login page. So we know in the traditional softwares, always if I have to write down the steps for the login page, we have to enter the username, password, then click on the login button. After that, I need to verify the home page. So these test steps which are there, I can automate by using any tool. We'll take the example as Playwright. It is one of the automation tool. So once automated, based on the UI behavior, I'll always make the output will be pass or fail, right? So if I consider the AI application, when we are testing, if I'm going to ask a question, the response is different each time when I'm going to ask it. We'll just see this example by using the DeepSeek. I'll take the example. So I'll take a new chart here. I'm going to ask a question. Explain AI testing in very short. Okay. I don't want to get a very elaborative response. So for that reason, I'm instructing it to explain it in very short. So it has provided the output. In short, the testing is the process of validating that an AI model performs correctly, reliably, ethically. It has provided the output. I'm going to ask same prompt again. So this response is correct based on my prompt that I am using. And so here also, AI testing validates that the AI models work correctly, fairly, safely, unlike standard software testing. It focuses on the model's behavior, accuracy, so bias, everything. So in short, here also the response is same. So in the AI testing, when we are doing, all the responses are same. Here, if you compare these two responses also, so the responses which we'll be getting are word by word when we compare it is not same, but based on the context, okay, it will be correct. But if I am comparing the string by string, it not be a correct one. So if I wanted to conclude here, the traditional applications always return the same output for the same input, while the AI application, so they produce multiple valid responses for the same prompts that user are going to ask, right? So that is what the difference between fixed output, and in the AI we'll be getting a dynamic output. The next difference is rule based versus model based. The traditional software works based on the rules. So here developers are going to write a logic. Let's take a simple example of the here the Python code I had written. So if the age is greater than or equal to 18, I have to print as a person is eligible. else I have to print as not eligible. So here always based on the input that we are providing, if I provide an input as 18, it prints as eligible. If I provide the input as 20, it prints eligible only. If I'm providing the input as 15, it prints as not eligible. So here the output will be getting based on this logic that we had written, the rules we had defined. But in the AI model, when I give a prompt, let's assume I'm going to give here the prompt. Okay, this is one of my email that I had received, okay, which is having a context as congratulations, you have won $1,000, click here. Okay, this is my prompt. If I provide this prompt, my model has to predict whether this email is spam or not and give the output to the end user. But how does it predict? Okay, so here this model is not designed based on the rules, right? We are not going to have any hard coded rule to predict the given model is spam or not, right? So instead of that, here when I'm asking these kind of prompts, my model will take an LLM, right? So this is going to predict whether the email is spam or not based on the pattern it learned during its training. So every model is going to work based on its training data, the pattern how it has been trained. Based on that, it's going to provide the outcome as whether the given email is spam or not, right? So if I have to summarize here, traditional softwares follows the predefined business rules always. So when we are talking about the AI systems, they make the prediction using the learned patterns from the data it has been trained, right? Okay, so let's see the next difference. Traditional softwares are deterministic, and when we talk about the AI applications, they will provide the output in the form of probabilistic. What does it mean? So we'll talk about the deterministic first. So we'll take the example of calculator. In the calculator, output will be always the same. If I take an example, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So here the output 4 is always the same if you are asking this as an input. So this is 100% deterministic, right? There will be no change. But see, let's assume ask a prompt to the LLM. So write a short introduction about the Python. Can you be sure that it will be the response is same each time that you're going to ask a prompt? So here it is saying, here's a short note. Okay, so Python is a high level general purpose programming language known for its simple readable syntax. Okay, it has provided its response. I'm going to ask a same prompt again. So here you can see the wordings, the output which it is provided is different. So high level interpreted programming language, simple and readable syntax created by, so it has provided some text. So here if you can compare, so it's not same exactly as same. Okay, you can compare, it's batteries included, philosophy provided, rich. Okay, here if you can compare, Python is a versatile, it's widely used in web development, right? So we got different responses for each prompt that I'm going to ask. So here I can't determine what might be the output that I'll be getting. Okay, so here the each time that output that I'll be getting is same, but context is same, but word by word when I compare it is different, right? So if I have to summarize here, traditional systems when we are using, they produce always identical output, while the AI models generate the outputs based on the probabilities, which can vary even for the same prompts which I'm going to ask multiple times, right? Let's see the next question. When we are doing the traditional software testing, we are going to use the assertions. So based on, we are going to assert the output, whether I'm getting a output as this or not. Okay, if I get the output as successful message, then pass the test, or else fail the test, like that. So when we say AI testing, here I have to use the metrics. Okay, what does it mean? In traditional testing, we'll take the example of API response validation. In the API, when I'm verifying, if I had provided the if I hit a get API, the output I'll be getting status as success. Okay, I can automate it and I can assert the response. The status is equal to success. Means whenever the status comes as success, my test cases will pass, or else it will fail by saying that expected output is not success. Right? It's simple. So when we talk about the AI testing, we are going to ask a question as explain RAG. Here, if I'm asking this particular prompt, I'm going to get the explanation for the RAG application. So RAG is a technique that improves AI language models by giving them access to an external knowledge base during a query. Okay. Here, if you have to validate this response, okay, we are not going to it's not able to do the assertion because we know always will not get the output as expected. Okay, instead of that, what I should do is I have to evaluate with a matrix. What does that what are that metrics? Okay, we'll take the example of answer relevancy. So based on my prompt, whether this particular answer relevant is not. So these are the metrics. We can't even do it via the manually. Manually we can consciously I can verify, but we'll be using the tools for the same thing: truthfulness, hallucination, whether it is hallucinating or not, and context, precision, context, recall. So these are the different metrics that we have to verify when we are validating the AI models. So here, if I have to summarize, in the traditional AI applications when we are verifying it, so here we are going to basically we'll be using the assertions to verify the responses. But if I take the AI models, we'll be using the validation metrics like answer relevancy and faithfulness, hallucination, context precision, context recall. Okay, so instead of string to string comparison, here we don't compare the string to string, we'll be using this metrics to verify the response. Right? Next, the fifth difference is when we talk about the traditional softwares, it's a UI or API focused. Okay, the AI models are more on the prompt retrieval and response focused. Okay, so we'll take the same example that we talked at the beginning in the traditional testing. So when we are verifying, we are going to click on the login, username, password, and we are going to verify the dashboard. Same thing we are going to automate, and we are going to run the automation scripts on the daily basis. Okay, so output will be pass or fail based on the application behavior. Let's talk about the AI. So how do you validate the AI application? Is it like we are going to write the test cases and we are verifying like how we are doing a software testing? No. So here what we are going to do is we are going to write down the prompts. Okay, so these prompts whichever I am going to write, like example, I'll take the example what is playwright. So for this I'll be getting a response, right? So in this response what I'm going to get, I have to verify whatever the response that I'm receiving. Okay, so out once I get the output, always I need to check, okay, is the response is relevant. Okay, so whether the response is relevant to my question or not, right? That's what I need to verify, because that is how we can check the output is expected or not. So is it factually correct? So did it retrieve the correct document? If it is a RAG based application, I need to check even the document from where it is getting the output. Did it retrieve the data from correct document? Then is there hallucination? is the output is complete or not. Okay, so is the response that we are getting is safe or not? Like I need to check even from the security perspective, right, and ethical perspective. So okay, so this is how we can try to verify the output that I'll be getting from the AI based application. So here if I have to summarize, traditional testing always we are going to validate the behavior based on the UI or API how it is designed, but in the AI testing we are going to validate the quality of the prompts that we are writing, because better the prompt, better the output that we'll be getting, and retrieval accuracy, how much accurately that output I am going to retrieve it, whether the right document it is retrieved, the right content it has picked or not, and models responses and safety principles has been followed or not. Okay, so overall how the user experience, so these are the parameters that we'll be verifying, right? So this is the major difference between the traditional and AI testing. So if we go back to our differences, so here we discussed traditional testing fixed output, AI testing will be getting a dynamic output. In traditional testing, it is designed based on the rule. Here, based on the model training data, we'll be getting the output. So always the output is deterministic. We know 100% what will be the output. So when we talk about the AI, it is probabilistic. So we know the correct output will be getting, but we are not able to compare word by word. And so when we are doing the AI testing, we can use the assertions and we can complete it. But in the traditional testing, in the AI testing, we are going to verify the output always based on the metrics. It's not based on the assertions. And the traditional software testing, when we are doing, it is a UI or API focused based on the response. We'll be verifying it. But AI testing more will focus on the prompt retrieval process and responses how it is generating, right? Okay, so let's get start with the next question. Okay, so here based on the things that we had discussed till now, you can answer to these questions, these kind of questions. How would you test a chatbot? So here I wouldn't compare the chatbot's response against one fixed expected sentence. Instead, I would evaluate it using a AI specific quality metrics such as relevance, faithfulness, hallucination detection, context precision, context latency, response latency, and consistency. Okay. If it is a RAG based application, even we have to make sure that correct document the data has been retrieved or not also we have to verify. Okay. Okay. We'll move on to the next question. So next question, why can't we use normal assertions for AI? So we already discussed this. AI models, when we are talking about the AI models, they will generate the probabilistic outputs, right? So here, instead of having always the expected output as plugin successful, we can evaluate the different metrics here when we are doing the AI testing. Okay, we'll discuss in detail about what is this relevance, faithfulness, similarity, and all. So next question is, explain hallucination. Okay, this is one of the very important questions in AI. So when we what is hallucination means, whenever we are testing these AI models, AI model will generate the information that sounds convincing for us, but it is not the actual factual knowledge that we are expecting it. I can say sometimes AI try to fabricate the output. It looks exactly the output that I'm looking, but it will not be the expected output, right? So if we take the example, when when was ChatGPT launched? It is going to give the response as 2019. Suddenly, by seeing, we convince that it's a correct means it is the factual response for the prompt that I asked, but actually it is not. The correct response is 2022. I'm taking this as an example. Okay, so how when we talk about the hallucination, so the prompts response which we are looking, so that will be fabricated, means the response that we are getting is not actually the correct response, but chat gpt or any AI based tools, it is going to give the response as 100% correct, means it is going to give very confidently this is the response. Okay, so this is the concept called, this is what hallucination is, right? Okay, the next question is, what is the difference between AI validation and AI verification? Okay, here there is a thin gap between the validation and verification. So when we talk about the verification, here we are going to check whether the AI system is built according to the specifications or not. Like example, we'll be getting a requirement. According to the requirement, whether AI application is designed or not. When we say validation, we are going to confirm here AI system meets user needs by producing useful content or not, right? So here, if we take a simple example, let's assume our team is developing the AI chatbot. So there we got a requirement as, so we have to get an answer the customer questions, and we have to get the response within 3 seconds, and it supports English and GPT-4 or llama, we have to use it, retrieve data from a company knowledge base, we have to do it, right? So when I am doing this verification, I'm going to write down my test cases. So is the chatbot connected to the LLM, and what is the model it is used? Whether it has been connected to the vector database, and from there, whatever the document that had been mapped, from there it is going to get the data or not. And so is API returning HTTP 200 or not? Okay, within 3 seconds I'm getting a response or not. So here RAG is enabled or not, authentication, all the technical validations I'm going to do it, right? So if everything is working as expected, my verification is done. Next comes the validation. So here, based on this system requirement what I received, according to the system requirement, my chatbot has been designed. Now comes the validation. Okay, so here I am going to ask to my chatbot the real business prompts. So what is your refund for policy? So here it is going to give the response. So once it provides the response, here I have to verify, is the answer is useful, is it correct, the response which it is coming, and sometimes it might be not picking from the document that we provided. So at that time we have to make sure that's a bug. If it has to pick from the documents where exactly we are specifying, it should not use its own trained data, right? So is it easy to understand that response that we are getting? And this here, when they're designing, they'll be changing a temperature. So at that time, randomness of the responses will be keep varying. So how randomly that you are getting responses? Is it up to mark? Is it too elaborative? That we need to check. Okay. So will the customer trust it? Like example, for these questions, we need to ask even some other prompts also. Accordingly, we have to get the response. Okay. So if all these validations are done, then we can say that my validation is passed. So here, based on the prompts response that we are getting, we are going to verify the output, right? So this is what the verification and validation difference. So next prompt that we are, next question we'll move on. What metrics do you use for AI testing? Okay, as we already discussed so many times, to do the AI testing, we'll be using the answer relevancy, faithfulness, context precision, context recall, hallucination rate, toxicity, bias, latency. And to validate these metrics, it's not possible manually to do it. So we have to use the tools or frameworks for this. If it is a RAG based, if my application is based on the RAG, so then it is recommended to use the RAGAS framework. So if any other applications, if I'm using like chatbot, even if it is the RAG based application, or if I'm using agents, so at that time it is recommended to use the DPEVR. Okay, so this is a AI testing tool. Okay, so these are the major interview questions that I planned for today. And as part of the assignments, you can write down 10 prompts about AI testing, and each prompt you can compare. So these metrics, like whether this is achieved the relevance, accuracy, hallucination, and consistency, and you can write down this in the spreadsheet. What's your observation based on your prompt that you're going to ask? Okay, Now I'll just show you a simple program that I had written to verify the prompt. So here I had added, I'm using the grok q endpoint. So this is my endpoint, okay, and the API key I had provided. And what are the prompts that I wanted to ask? So I had given my prompts here. So what is AI testing? Explain hallucination. What is prompt engineering? What is the difference between a RAG and fine tuning? So explain AI testing in simple words. Okay. So these are the prompts I had been stored, and results I'm going to store it in the JSON format. So right now I'm having already the results. So I'll just wanted to show you. I'll just try to clear this. Okay. So whatever the response that I'm getting, I wanted to store it in the results.json. So now this is the main program apps.py. It's written in the Python. Here I try to I wanted to store this grok API key, and I'm going to use it as a client. Results to store, I had created a empty array, and so I'm going to write so Nano SkillUp AI testing using grok API. So here I wanted to I'm using this enumerate to ask a prompts one after the another, right? So here is my first prompt which I am going to take, and before I ask this prompt I am storing my time because I wanted to verify the latency also, means time taken to get the response from this LLM that I am using it, right? So here I am using the LLM model llama, okay. And so as part of the prompt I'm sending the user, this is the role type, and here I used to pass my prompt. So whatever the prompts first time when it is iterating, it will take the question what is AI testing, and that is going to be passed here, okay. And I am going to set here the temperature as 0.30.3, and max token it has to use 300. This is means how much maximum token it has to use it, and the temperature we can set based on our requirement. And once the response we receive, I'm going to store it the end time to give the latency, and whatever the answers that I'm going to get, so I'm going to store it in the response. So here as response below that I'm going to print the answer that we receive in the console when I'm going to ask. And to store the latency, what is the end time that it has provided minus what is the start time, okay. So with this I'll be getting the latency in seconds I can get it. And once I get all the output, then I wanted to store this response in the JSON, this results.json, right? So for that, in the results.json, I wanted to add the prompt that I'm asking, what is the response that I got, and latency. These are the things it's going to store it in my results.json. So let's try to run this program. So I'm going to run this program as python space apps.py. So here it will start asking to my grokq LLM one after the another, and it will start getting the response. So here we can see all the response had been printed. I'll go to my so here what is AI testing? I got this as a response. Then the next question is, this is the 1.42 is the 1.42 seconds it has taken. Then explain hallucination. Hallucination in AI refers to a phenomenon where an artificial intelligence system, particularly those using machine learning or deep evolving models, generate or produces information that is not based on any actual input data or reality. This can manifest in various forms. So it has provided in detail an explanation about the hallucination, right? And what is prompt? It has provided for all our prompts the response, right? So we can check the same response from the results.json also. Okay, it's not saved. So now you can see we got all the response in our results.json. Okay. Okay, I'll stop it here. So we connect in the next session. So if you're also interviewing an AI test engineer, so in that case, what is the first question that you would ask to the interviewer? Okay, so you can write your answer in the comments so we can discuss in the next session the best responses that we are going to receive. And I had listed down some of the other questions similar to today's whatever we had discussed, that is what is AI testing, what is hallucination, so why are exact assertions difficult with LLMs, and name three AI evaluation metrics, and what does AI testing differ from traditional testing. So if you know the answer, you can write down. Thank you everyone.